Hello and welcome to another episode of County Perspective, the show that focuses on Frederick County government, local programs and events, and the community that you live in. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa, and thank you for joining us. Now let's jump right in with some news from around the county. Hundreds of community members gathered at the Weinberg Center for the Arts on December 3rd for the second County Executive and County Council swearing-in ceremony under charter government. This year's 2018 gubernatorial election had several tight races, and some of the newly elected council members won by absentee ballots. County Executive Jan Gardner was first to take her oath of office to serve another 4 years as County Executive. Council member Jerry Donald from District 1 took his oath as he will now serve another 4 years. Jerry Donald wasn't the only council member who was re-elected. MC Keegan Ayer from District 3 and Jessica Fitzwater from District 4 both are serving another 4 years as well. Citizens of Frederick County will now see new members to the council, such as council members at large Philip Dacey and Kai Hagan, Michael Blue from District 5, and Stephen McKay from District 2. FCG-TV and I would like to extend our congratulations. If you did not get a chance to come to the ceremony, FCG-TV will be airing it on Channel 19 and Channel 1085. One day after the County Executive and County Council's inauguration, the 7-member County Council met for the first time in Winchester Hall on Tuesday, December 4th. The first meeting was an important one for the Council, as it was the day to nominate and elect a Council President and Vice President. Re-elected Frederick County Council member MC Keegan Ayer was elected to become the President of the Council, and one of the newest Council members, Michael Blue, was elected as Vice President. Members of the County Council expressed confidence in electing MC Keegan Ayer for Council President based on her experience as Vice President during the prior term. Council members agreed to move their meeting time to 5:30 p.m. to accommodate their work schedules. Be sure to catch the next County Council meeting live on Channel 19 or 1085 on Tuesday, December 11th. Frederick County government and Fort Detrick were chosen as one of the winners of the 2018 U.S. Army Community Partnership Awards. During the recognition ceremony that was held in the Hall of Heroes at the Pentagon, 7 awards were given to military and county joint partnerships around the country. Fort Detrick and Frederick County partnered on a computer-aided dispatch system to create interoperability and system synchronization for 911 emergency calls. A second partnership helped to integrate the installation into the county solid waste management plan, enabling the Army to reduce emissions and landfill use requirements. The awardees were chosen for improving readiness, driving modernization, and contributing to reform initiatives throughout the Army. Fort Detrick Garrison Commander Colonel Scott Halter joined County Executive Jan Gardner, and other county and Detrick officials received the honor on December 4th. Do you prefer a real Christmas tree, or maybe you like to decorate with wreaths or other fresh greenery? There's nothing like the smell of pine in the house during the holidays, and as a strong supporter of the farming community, the Office of Economic Development encourages people to do their Christmas tree shopping at local farms. Let's get into the holiday spirit and learn a little bit more about the tree farming business here in Frederick County.
Agriculture is one of Frederick County's largest industries. It's our history and it's our future. Frederick County farmers continue to support and feed our community, and it's also a huge piece of quality of life when we're talking about other major employers here in Frederick. People love to come to Frederick to see our farmland. They love to come visit our agritourism operations and our wineries and breweries. So agriculture is really a key piece to Frederick County's economy.
Well, while we got in the tree business, my grandfather and uncle were growing trees, and down in Montgomery County, my father helped them get started. When we got out of the dairy business, we had some rough ground, so we put trees on the rough ground and then proceeded from there to good ground and growing a lot more trees now per acre.
I'm a forester by profession, and when I was working, I had an opportunity to get a field of Christmas trees, and I showed it to another fellow, and we formed a partnership, and from there it just kept going up and up to it being a full-time business as it is now.
Christmas tree farms are a great option for farmers to diversify. It is a long process to become a Christmas tree farm, but for a farmer, it's a great way to diversify their seasons. Most crops aren't growing in the winter time, so farmers aren't making any money during the winter. So it's a great option that way, and it preserves our agricultural land. You know, it does take a large amount of land to grow Christmas trees, so it's keeping land in agriculture production.
The whole business is seasonal, but it is a year-round maintenance problem. Certain times of the year you do certain things. Spring, like I say, was when we plant them. Depending what variety it is, the summer is when we trim them or shape them for shearing, for density for a live Christmas tree or for a cut Christmas tree. And then there's also insects and disease, because there isn't a tree out there that doesn't have a problem.
Well, we take a 4-year-old seedling on a Fraser fir, and it takes about 10 more years, 8 to 10 years more to get an 8-foot tree. Douglas fir, we started out with 3-year-old seedling. Then it takes 7 to 8 years on them to get an 8-foot tree. Then you're looking at the 16, 18-foot trees, it takes about 14 to 15 years to get to that stage.
This particular acreage is in ag preservation, so it's an accepted use to use in the open land. I think it's less invasive as opposed to some farming things. In other words, we don't turn the soil over, but once every 8-10 years when we rotate it. We use very little chemicals, period. I'm not a big chemical fan whatsoever, so we only use what we really have to for an insect or a disease. Very little weed control, which makes our farm maybe not quite as attractive as other farms, but I don't use herbicides to keep it spotlessly clean like other people do. For that reason, because I'm not fond of chemicals.
The economics of Frederick County, what we feel we bring into it is, well, people travel 2.5 to 3 hours to get here. We come from Southern Maryland, which is down in Quantico, we got Quantico, Virginia, but Pax River down in Southern Maryland. We get them out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Those people got to come up here and they spend money to get here, and they're going to spend money to go home. I mean, such as gasoline, you're talking about food. They come up here to go shopping. A couple of restaurants, bed and breakfast. I mean, these people come up, they make a day of it.
We are weather oriented, but we've sold trees here in 3 foot of snow to people running around in bathing suits because of the different weather. But at our farm, animals are welcome, children are welcome, and most of the other farms are the same way.
Like the saying is right now, it's Christmas, so let's keep it real and let's put a real tree up because it's a renewable resource. You can take this tree out and have it ground up, have Merry mulch, what they call it. It saves the land too, keeps it from washing away. I mean, people, it does create a lot of activity for people having a good time.
We would love to see you come out and buy local Christmas trees, support Frederick County's economy and support Frederick County agriculture and our farmers here. For more information on Frederick County's Christmas tree farms and other agriculture businesses, be sure to visit homegrownfrederick.com.
We're going to take a quick break, but stick around. We have plenty more coming up on County Perspective. Welcome back to County Perspective. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa. Our county waterways are a very important part of our way of life here in Frederick. And right in our backyard is one of the biggest watersheds in the county, better known as Bennet Creek. The north branch of Bennet Creek, however, is about to receive some restoration in order to maintain healthy waterways and a healthy ecosystem. While I took a trip down to visit the creek, I was able to talk to county officials from the Office of Sustainability. Let's find out what they had to say. The Bennet Creek watershed is 48 square miles. It runs into a triangular area to the south and east, running along the portion of the county adjoining Montgomery County and the Interstate 270 corridor, and extends south to Sugarloaf Mountain. Bennet Creek is a watershed, which ultimately merges into other bodies of water, including the Chesapeake Bay. Therefore, it is vital to ensure that the creek's water remains healthy. For several years now, the north branch of Bennet Creek, which can be located near Bartee Mountainside Summer Camp, has been severely declining.
We knew immediately that there were some problems with the amount of erosion that we were seeing in our wetlands. over the past 4 or 5 years, the stream has begun to reconfigure itself.
Bennet Creek itself, the county has actually had 2 watershed studies and watershed implementation plans for this area. In 2004 and then in 2008, we've noticed in the whole entire Bennet Creek watershed a lot of erosion and not a lot of vegetation along the stream banks, which we call riparian buffers. All of those things kind of complement themselves to creating what you see in the background, where you have a lot of severe bank erosion and there's no roots of the trees or the vegetation to actually stabilize those banks.
What's happening is that there's something called a head cut that just keeps eating more and more and more of the banks of the stream. In fact, the stream restoration designers put pins in to try to track how much sediment they were losing. And at most sites, you might lose, a centimeter a year, but they're losing feet.
Joe Richardson, owner of Bar T Mountainside, was concerned with the health of North Bennet Creek. In search of help, Richardson knew exactly who to call.
I met with him probably 10 years ago to plant buffer trees. And at that time, we saw his stream, took a look and saw that it was a really great restoration opportunity, but it was a significant one. I mean, it was going to require a lot of money to complete. And so we kind of said, hey, let's keep this in our back pocket for now. We have enough to do with the tree planting and the wetland project that he took on. Joe happened to give me a call and say, hey, please come out, take a look at what has happened since you've been here last. And I said, hey, it's great you've contacted me. By the way, there's some great grant funding opportunities out here.
When Richardson reached out to the Center for Watershed Protection, a grant for the restoration of North Bennet Creek was on its way.
Joe Richardson partnered with the Center for Watershed Protection and applied for a Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Based Trust Fund grant to do construction of the project. And the Department of Natural Resources said, we'll award this to you, but if we're going to award it to you, you need to find money for design.
The Maryland Department of Natural Resources only allows funding of that grant for construction only. So the county chipped in $90,000 of all design money and some of the permitting that goes along with it to actually turn this back into a really amazing stream restoration project. You have Ecotone, who will actually be doing the design work and the construction of the project itself. In addition, then you have also the county, who would be looking through this project and watching this project through from start to finish.
Construction and renovations of the creek were scheduled to begin in winter of 2018, and it will end in spring of 2019. Once renovations and construction are completed, North Bennet Creek will physically change in appearance, and the water quality will improve. Thus, wildlife and insects that inhabit the creek will have a healthy life.
In this case, they looked at 2 different kinds of projects. One is a straight stream restoration project where they're cutting out the old banks and removing a bunch of sediment and realigning the stream so that it has meanders, so that it disperses energy properly and then gets to the floodplain and slows down. A stream that has connection with its floodplain is a healthier stream. Then the other part of this stream restoration project is going to be what's called a regenerative stormwater conveyance, which is a technique to disperse energy for something that's going through a channel but that's going down a hill. So basically you have a series of plunge pools, and each one of those pools disperses energy.
This project is really unique. We have 2 small tribs that come into this project, this larger stream body here. Those 2 stream links, one is around 750 linear feet, and then we have another reach that is around 340 linear feet. And then the main channel that you see here in the backdrop is about 1,500 linear feet of stream. So in total, we're almost talking about 2,500 linear feet of stream being restored. One of the big things that we want to do is get the water back out into the floodplain. So during stormwater events now, the stream doesn't get out as much as it should. We want to get it out into the floodplain, slow that water that's got a lot of pollutants in it, and then actually treat them on our floodplains. In addition to that, we're going to have a whole bunch of wetlands along the perimeter of the stream, which again helps, number one, for nutrients, as also we have a wonderful ecosystem that's about ready to rebound here with frogs and amphibians and salamanders. Now further downstream from this point, again with all of this being kind of contained within this 1,500 linear feet here, this will help reduce how much sediment continues to flow downstream, and that sediment downstream kind of clogs our riffles. There's gurgling portions of the stream. If you have a whole bunch of sediment that kind of filters into them and just lands on that, it actually kills the macroinvertebrates in those areas.
The North Bennet Creek Stream Restoration Project is an important milestone for the health of Bennet Creek, the environment, and for students attending Bar T Mountainside.
The engineering and design of this project is a much more sophisticated level. It opens teaching opportunities to go into middle schools, high schools, and even colleges with the amount of engineering design that's going into this project. And with the issues that we're beginning to see with stormwater, what happened in Ellicott City, what's happened in Frederick, understanding hydrology is becoming a much more important issue that students need to recognize, and if there's anything that can be done to mitigate it, we believe that we can teach some of the processes that need to help with stormwater runoff in the future.
If you would like more information about the North Bennet Creek Stream Restoration Project, call the Frederick County Office of Sustainability and Environmental Resources at 301-600-1416 or email Don Dorsey or Shannon Moore. It's time to take a trip over to the Animal Control Center and make some new friends. Let's find out who's looking for a new home in this episode's featured pet.
Since Credence arrived at FCAC in August, she has proven herself to be an excellent shelter ambassador. Whether she's sitting on a lap in an assisted living facility or playing with kids in our kitty cabana, she's a happy girl. Credence is the perfect mix of playful and cuddly and has the confidence to quickly adjust to any situation. Visit Credence at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, 1832 Rosemont Avenue.
It's really starting to get cold outside, but that doesn't mean you need to give yourself cabin fever and stay boarded up. There are multiple county departments offering a multitude of classes, lessons, programs, promotions, and events for people of all ages to participate in. Let's take a look at a few of them. With the holidays right around the corner, we thought we would leave you with a few helpful reminders that would keep you and your family safe during the holiday season.
If you use a real tree or an artificial tree for any matter, never leave them near a fireplace, a burning fireplace, or a space heater. Never put candles on a tree. If you have a real tree, make sure you keep it watered at all times. Never leave it up for an extended period of time. Again, when the needles start to fall off, you know it's time to take it down. As we all know, we go into the holiday season with scented candles. We must be careful. Never leave a candle burning and leave the house. Keep them out of the reach of children. Keep them out of the reach of pets. And what I mean by that, sometimes when you put them on a coffee table or a regular table, an animal can jump up on the table. Their tails could brush the candles, knock them over, could cause a fire. But never leave them unattended. Always keep them lit for just an extended period of time, I would suggest, but always make sure that you blow them out. Nowadays, they make flameless candles. They look like real candles. There are some scented flameless candles. They're battery operated, but they look like the real thing. If you're going to put them on the fireplace, that's fine, because we all know Santa comes down the chimney and he'll turn around and fill the stockings. But let's not leave them up when you have a burning fireplace. Make sure they're UL tested, make sure they're UL approved. Be very cautious with them. When one burns out, replace the bulb or just buy a whole new string. If you have lights that are, say, 5 to 10 years old, I would suggest buying a whole new string of lights. If they're old lights, and they start to flicker, they could burn out and they could start a fire. You don't want to keep an old extension cord around. If you're going to use an extension cord, make sure it's a new one and UL approved, and make sure that you do not overload them. And don't leave them out in a walking area because people can trip over them and hurt themselves. Keep them away from curtains, your furniture, 3 to 4 feet away from curtains, furniture, anything flammable that might catch fire. Don't let children around them to play. We certainly don't want children to get burnt. If you have a fireplace or a wood stove that you burn regularly, make sure you clean the ashes out safely. Do not put your ashes in a plastic bucket, put them in a metal bucket. Take them outside the house. Please do not set them up against the house. Take that bucket and set it 3 to 4 feet outside from the house. The ashes can get hot and will set the structure on fire. Make sure you have working smoke alarms in your house. That's very, very important. If you have a 9-volt battery smoke alarm in your house that's 10 years of age or older, please replace the whole alarm itself with a 10-year lithium sealed-in battery smoke alarm. And it's the newest thing out there, and Maryland law now requires that. During this holiday season, I just want to say I hope everybody will use their safety measures, think about what they're doing, and just have a happy and safe holiday season.
That's it for this episode of County Perspective. Don't forget to follow Frederick County on social media in order to keep up to date on important news and events. We'll see you next time for a fresh look from a county perspective.